Managers have to have difficult conversations all the time. You need to tell somebody they're not up to the standard you need of them. Maybe there's a conflict between your employees that you have to sort out. Or in worst case, you actually have to terminate them. Well, let's today talk about how you can prepare for those difficult conversations. Having difficult conversations with our employees is a reminder that we're their boss. We're not their friend. We're not their buddy. We are their boss, which means we have obligations to the business. We have obligations to the larger team. We have obligations to even the product we're producing that prioritize above saying the nice thing, saying the friendly thing, saying the engaging thing. We have to have that difficult truth with our employees. And for you people pleasers out there, I feel you. I know that this is probably the most stressful part of your job, is telling somebody bad news. But here are 5 things you can do to prepare for having those difficult conversations to make it easier for you. First thing you want to do is establish your goal. What is it that you want to accomplish with this conversation? Is there something that you need to make sure gets said? For that matter, maybe you need to learn something. What is it that you want to learn from the other person? Or what is it that they need to say? What is it that they need to learn? When you establish your goal up front, and it might help to write that down, you're more likely to achieve it through the conversation. The second thing we want to do is set the right tone for the conversation. So think about how you want that conversation to start. What are the things that you need to do to make them feel like they have a voice and that they feel like they can participate? And finally, what are the things you might want to do to help draw them in? This is a difficult conversation and people may already feeling defensive. You want to draw them into it and make them feel like they are a part of what needs to be said. The third thing we need to take into consideration are the obstacles. These are the things that are going to get in the way and prevent us from having the conversation that we need to have. So for instance, what if they get angry? What then? Or what if they withdraw from you in the conversation? What do you do then? And we also need to be mindful of the things that are going to also affect us. What if we hesitate and are resistant to saying what needs to be said? How do we deal with those situations? Ultimately, we want to make this conversation as safe as possible, so we want to identify where things might go off the rails. The fourth thing we want to do is plan for the obstacles when they show up. Knowing what we're going to do when things go badly allows us to anticipate them, allows us to avoid them, and for that matter, we can manage them more effectively when we know they're coming. So for example, if a situation is going to get difficult and somebody's going to get angry, what are we going to do to help keep ourselves calm and on point? Or if they've suddenly become withdrawn, what are we going to do to ask them to draw them out into the conversation to keep them engaged in what we're talking about? Point number 5 are what are the benefits of having this conversation? Take a moment to write down what you see are the advantages and be mindful of what are the risks if you don't have the conversation. I wager that it's actually worthwhile to have the conversation. Okay, so we have our 5 steps on how to deal with difficult conversations. 1, make sure you set a goal. 2, decide on the tone you want for the conversation. 3, identify the obstacles. 4, plan for those obstacles. And 5, what are the benefits of having this conversation? How do you prepare for having a difficult conversation? Let me know. Also, if you like this and you are looking for more tips, then consider downloading my guide for new managers. This includes 100 different tips and mindset activities that you can engage in to get you prepared for the new manager role, or if you're in a manager role, make sure that you've got all the tools you have ready to go. Until next time, let's get to work.